Hey folks, this is Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is going to be my prediction on the TUF 10 finale, Roy Nelson versus Brendan Schaub. Don't know if I got that last name right on Brendan, but close enough. Okay. This is going to be an interesting fight because you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. However, I think it really boils down to Brendan's faster on the feet. I don't know if he's a more powerful striker, but I think he probably is. So I think that's going to give him a slight advantage on the feet as long as he don't get cocky like that one guy did against Roy Nelson, which, you know, he really got what he deserved being all cocky and, you know, doing that to Roy, and he also deserved it for the way he's treating that guy on the show. So, you know, like I always say, karma's a bitch. Anyway, I think what's going to give the Brendan the edge, not only on the feet, but on the more importantly on the ground, is I think Brendan can handle himself on the ground. I think he can keep, I think he can keep Roy from imposing his will like he did, like Roy did on his first two victims, you know, basically getting a big belly on them and crucifixion kind of pose and beating them down and stuff. So I do not think Roy will be able to do that to Brendan, which Brendan clearly showed that he can handle a huge monster of a beast in Big Baby, which I really, be honest with you, I already had wrote Brendan off before the fight even started, and then after he got on top of him, I really wrote him off. So, you know, Brendan really, he performed above and beyond the expectation that I had for him. So I'm expecting him to come into this fight undefeated, confident, well-trained, well-motivated. He's young. He's a hungry lion, and I see him coming with everything. I see him wanting it real bad. However, wanting it too bad sometimes can be a curse. Actually, you can overtrain and be wore out. You know, getting sick more often, and you see that like in marathon runners and stuff, getting just silly little sicknesses for just overtraining, and so that may be a problem for him. And what also may be a problem for him is maybe he's not used to this kind of big stage. You know, it may be too much pressure for him, a pressure he's not used to, and maybe he'll, you know, leave holes and gaps in his game and just not have the energy and, you know, that he should have, and be 100% focused on the fight. Maybe focus more on winning. However, I don't see that problem for Roy Nelson. I don't know who the guy is, but supposedly he's a champ somewhere else or a really good guy somewhere else. So I see him probably being able to handle the big show, and it not really being a big deal to him. You know, for him, I think it's another fight. It may be a little bit bigger than he's ever seen, but I don't see it being too much more. He seems like a pretty confident, well-adjusted guy as far as being able to handle himself and manage himself well. So I don't see that being a problem. Okay. How could either one of these guys win? Well, I think both of them can win knockout, submission, or decision. So I don't really know how to break it down on that way, except saying I think both of them can win. And I've already mentioned I think Brandon's a little faster on the feet, but if you give him any chances, Roy will knock you out or hurt you on your feet. So Roy is always a dangerous opponent, and Roy could definitely submit Brandon. You know, it's pretty, like I said, it's pretty impressive victories over. You know, he basically did what he wanted to Kimbo, and basically did what he wanted to do with the other guy. And but I don't see him being able to do that with Brendan. But you never know. And my question is about Roy. What kind of Roy are we going to see? Are we going to see chubby Roy? Are we going to see big country? Or are we going to see slim country? I want to see Roy Nelson come in there, well trained, in shape. You know, not a bunch of extra weight. And I want to see him come in there and give him his best. You know, his best. I don't want to see a chubby Roy. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. I think we've already talked about Brendan's advantages, and like I said, it was an awesome comeback from Big Baby on top of him, mounting him, whatnot. So, wow, you know, just impressive. And okay, I think we already said that. We already did that. And we already did that. Just some extra. This is not about the fight so much; it's just about the show. And Rashad Evans and Rampage, man, that last episode. I mean, they were. I was bracing myself because I thought it got silent, man. I seriously think Rampage was about to unload on him. I really don't know what kept him from doing it, to be honest with you. I really expected Rampage to haul off and hit him and just see an all-out war right there in the hallway. You know, before the fight started, I didn't know who was to blame as far as being, you know, being a jerk. But it seems like Rashad is, I mean, obviously they're showing you what they want to show you on the show, but it seems like Rashad is always starting it and won't let it go. You know, it's like he's got a hard on for Rampage for some reason. I don't know. Maybe he don't like the way Rampage is confident or something. I don't really know. And second thought on the television series, Roy Nelson and Dana White really don't get along. I mean, there's definitely a personality conflict, and I don't think that Dana White really don't like him. I mean, it's just how it is, and you know, and I don't know. And I guess another thing I want to say about Roy Nelson, I wonder if Roy Nelson will come. I wonder if he will train with a good camp. You know, get out of his seclusion, train by himself kind of mentality, and actually train with a good camp, because he's not going to perform well at the highest level in the UFC if he doesn't train with a quality camp. I mean, I think that's just a given. You can't be, I mean, it could probably be done. It's probably not going to be done, you know, train by himself. So even if he wins this fight, he's still going to have to get with a serious camp, you know, and do the right things, or it's just not going to happen. I think I've said all I wanted to say. Oh, let's talk a little bit about Kimbo. You know, I think Kimbo gave a solid representation of himself on the show. I mean, you know, he lost to Big Roy Nelson on the ground. Ain't like he lost a slugging match. And I can't necessarily blame him for not wanting to come back and fight at 40% or whatever, you know, he said he was at. And so I don't think Kimbo disrespected himself, but I did think Kimbo showed where street fighters, you know, rank against real top-level UFC guys. And you know, they just are not going to compete with that if they don't have the serious skills that go along with being a badass guy. So that was good. It sort of probably worked out like most of us probably would have expected. I personally starting to get to like Kimbo, so I would like to see a little more out of him. But anyway, that's fine. And I think that's all I got to say. Oh yeah, I did have one other thing to say. I will be posting a video after the fight, probably about 30 minutes to an hour after the TUF 10 finale on Spike. So if you want to come out and check the video out, and we can chit-chat in the comments section, whatnot, we can do that. And if you don't mind, please rate. And until the end of the fight, later, folks.